everybody. Welcome to our messaging workshop. So I can see a bunch of you guys have joined. Throw in the chats. Where are you right now? Tracy's got water. I have coffee, guys. Full disclosure. This is my first coffee for the morning because it is 7 a.m. I am a little afraid of what's going to happen once I finish this and if I can last this whole masterclass, if you get my drift, right? So let's see how we can go today. We have Denver. Where are you? Yeah, show me where you're at. Tell me where you're from. What's CO? Wait, Colorado. Yeah, I have to learn the states like shorthands. Okay, we got Colorado in the house. Mountain time, I believe. Wait, is LA, Ashley, is LA like Louisiana maybe? No, you're not like in this Louisiana. All right, throw what else you got for me. Give me those American states. I'm going to own them. I'm coming to you obviously from the future. If you're in America, I'm coming to you from the future. This is Thursday morning, 7 a.m. That is why I got the coffee. And today's all about learning how to craft a message that gets you seen, gets you heard, gets you paid. Because, you know, if you've been in my world a little while, you know, I'm a copywriter. I am all about the words. I'm all about the copy. But what I've realized in my time of working with so many clients is that, you know, the copy is real. Like, look at your communication like a cake, right? Your copy is the icing on the cake. It is the beautiful lashings of buttercream and stuff that when you put it in the window, it looks so good. And you're like, I want that red velvet, like cake, cupcake, or whatever it is. But your message is like the cake. Like, how many times have you bitten into like a cake? Like, it looks so good. And then like the base, the frosting is just like underneath the frosting. It's just a little, it's not so nice. Like, they didn't put effort into the actual cake itself. Right, we just kind of, the sugar hits of the icing is really good, but when you take a bite into the cake, it's kind of like, I'm disappointed, I'm let down. But the cake itself is your message. Okay, so when we have that message layered into your copy and everything that you write, you've got this like beautiful cohesion when it comes to presenting your offers that make people excited and make people buy, and then make people buy and buy again. Now, when I came in here, like the light in this room is like terrible. I was like in pitch darkness. So I quickly went and grabbed my bedside table lamp from my bedroom and threw it here. So if there's this weird light situation happening, just know that I am not a professional influencer and I do not have a ring light, but I have a makeshift situation going on here. Anyways, you guys, let's get started. Let me pull up my slides. Let's get started. Here we go. Share materials. There will be opportunities for questions as always, but you can see my slides and you guys can see me. And this is the messaging workshop, how to craft a message that gets you seen, heard, and paid. And really, I want to share with you my 3-step messaging method that's going to get you more impact, more influence, and more income. So let's freaking do this. Okay. Just a quick heads up, you are in the right place if you have a product or service to sell, but you're struggling to get people excited enough that they actually pay you. You're in the right place if you're sick of spending your whole entire day writing a single email because no matter how many times you edit your email, it's just still not quite right. And you're ready to find an easier and more reliable way to write copy and content that flows and that feels good. And you're absolutely in the right place if you want a content copy system in place. So every time you show up and share your message, you get paid. Okay, so guys, before we start, I want you to make sure this is your teacher talking. Turn off your phone, close your tabs. Look, I know there are 110 tabs open right now. That is me. Before I jumped on this, I had to like do a whole cull. I had to close my tabs down to as not get distracted and notifications from Gmail and Google Calendar telling me that we are at our messaging workshop today. And let's get into it. So today you're going to learn the 3 biggest mistakes stopping you from being seen, heard, and getting paid. Then I'm going to walk you through the 3 exact steps you need to get more engagement, more recognition, more sales for the life-changing work you do. If you've never been to one of my workshops before, then I'm going to tell you straight up, this is going to be fun. This is not going to be a boring kind of just like, here's the theory, boring. This is fun. You know, learning, running your business should all be fun. So I really like to make my workshops fun. And also the next steps, which is an amazing way to work with me, which is all about making waves with your message. And stay with me until the final curtain, and you will get the anatomy of a message, which is a really great guide that walks you through the 7 kind of layers that you need for every message that you have. Yeah, basically, it's really fucking cool. And it will help you translate your message into a way that's going to obviously get you seen, heard, and paid. Let's get into it. Okay, so meet my 2 entrepreneurial friends. We all have entrepreneurial friends like this. You might be one of these people. On the left, we have who I call Hot Mess Message Melissa. So in our business bestie circle of friends, right, there's always someone. It could be you. It was me for a while, but there is this there's a hot mess message going on, right? Melissa, who is this Melissa with a hot mess message, she gets overwhelmed with finding the perfect words and ends up stuck in her own head. Okay, she reads over her work and wants to delete it immediately. It's cringeworthy and she hates it. This Melissa spends time gets away from her because she's spending so much time day in, day out, writing, rewriting, only to end up with like half-written emails, blog posts, social posts, but she never posts them because it just doesn't feel good. Like just something doesn't feel right, like just cringy, right? And hot mess message Melissa, every time she tries to sell, she stresses out about what to write, and her results mean that she's got crickets, right? So this is kind of one person that I see a lot in the business world and my clients when they come to me, and I'm sure you have maybe experienced this before in your life, or you know someone who kind of does, who's always kind of just don't know, just has that doesn't have that confidence and that clarity and that certainty whenever they want to show up. Like they got what to say and how to say it. Okay, now we have option B, which I like to call crystal clear message Melissa. And this entrepreneur, this one, she sends one email and gets fully booked and her bank account grows. She gets more visitors, more engagement, more recognition for the life-changing work she does. She is excited to show up every day and share her very important message. Her message not only excites herself but also her audience. She loves showing up, writing, making content binge-worthy, and her content naturally spreads like wildfire. And there are no ifs, no buts, no maybes. There's just a straight line to the buy now button. So who would you rather be in this situation, right? Like it's obvious. I'm as if anyone's going to say choice A. I put a tick next to choice B already. This is who we want to aim for. But like, let's declare it right now. Declare it in the comments with me. Tell me right now that you want to be clear message Melissa. That's the kind of person that you want to be. That's the kind of entrepreneur you want to be. You want to shoot off emails. You're in. Tracy's in. Declare it, guys. I know you're like, eye roll is. Of course, I'm not going to choose A. That's a dumb question. What a dumb poll. I get it. But declare it. Do you know how powerful it is to declare that you are ready to have a message so clear that you can shoot off an email and make $10,000 minimum? You can get paid for the life-changing work you do. Tracy's in. Ashley is here for it. Can I get someone else to make the declaration? I know there's more people on this workshop. Let's go. Come on. One more. Give me one more. Me, Melanie. Yes. Okay, good. We're declaring it, guys. So let me tell you that the number one way that I've been able to continually sell whenever I write content was by mastering my message, obviously, which is why you're here. And Amanda's giving me a fire emoji. You guys are, fuck yeah. So it makes me so happy. So obviously, mastering my message was a really important part in being able to show up. All right. And, let me just tell you, with this choice here, with Clear Message Melissa, this idea of shooting off one email, making $10,000, like that is me. I've done that. I do that on the regular. And how I've been able to do it was by mastering my message. But it wasn't just the message itself that made the biggest impact. It was when I was able to look at my message and kind of turn it into a system where I was able, I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur by nature, right? Like, I'm a creative. I write rom-com novels in my spare time. I write screenplays in my spare time. I have 50 different ideas for products and ideas constantly. So it could feel like I have like so many different competing messages, right? So it wasn't until I put it into a system where I was able to turn a hot mess message into one that makes waves across my industry and gets me paid. And it was the system that mattered the most. So you guys, if you haven't met me before, I am obviously Elizabeth McKenzie. That's a weird way to introduce oneself. I'm a copywriter and founder of Write or Die, which is a copywriting agency, and CopyBoss, which is my signature copywriting course. I also have a degree in marketing, media, communications, speech pathology. That is right. If you have a stutter, I could cure you. I also have a mini MBA in marketing. I'm basically a nerd who is obsessed with all things communication, right? Because at the end of the day, marketing is really a form of communication. Speech pathology, obviously, what I learned from that degree is that it's a basic human being's need to have their it's a basic need of a human being to have their needs met, and the only way someone can get their needs met is by communicating it. So communication is the cornerstone of everything I do. When I was treating kids in my speech pathology clinic before I went full-time into my business here, and now helping businesses be able to communicate with their audience in a way that gets their business's needs met. It's all about communication. As I mentioned earlier, multi-passionate here. Well, multi-passionate within the writing realm because I'm just straight up writer. Hey, copywriting by day, screenwriting by night, and writing my rom-com novel by lunchtime, basically. I have two dogs. They're like behind that door there. Let's hope that we don't hear them. I have one kid and one husband. And guys, I'm obsessed with peanut butter on toast, but you must have it with butter. Okay, please try this. Put your butter on your toast, then put your peanut butter on your toast, and then thank me later. And I have this every single morning. And I'm pretty sure a mum invented peanut butter on toast as the most nutritious and sustainable thing that anyone can have in the morning. Okay, enough about me and my peanut butter. But I wanted to kind of just show you, right? Like when we show up and like start to develop a message, this is the kind of stuff you're looking at when it comes to connecting with your audience, right? Like people love the content and copy that we create, that I create in conjunction with my audience, in conjunction with my clients. The reason why I get such great results and people love everything I write, and I barely have to do any rewrites in my copywriting clients, is because I really figure out their message before I put any pen to page. What's the equivalent of typing? Pen to page, clickety clack onto the blank page. I really sit down and look at their message. I've also been really honored to be able to teach at a bunch of these, General Assembly, 7-Figure Coach. I've been on the Copy Chat. I've worked with really incredible entrepreneurs like Lauren Roxburgh, who is basically Goop's body whisperer. I've been featured in Huffington Post, and I also put in here because I'm super proud of it. My scripts have placed in several competitions like the Boston Film Festival. So, all of that is to say that, I've created content and copy and messaging that has helped clients increase their revenue by 3,000%, pull off $250,000 launches, and scale by selling their first business franchise. But it wasn't, always like that. That's not where I've always been, back in 2016. Let me tell you a story. I just launched my copywriting course, CopyBoss. Okay. Students were joining, people were joining, people were loving it. They're like, yes, I need to learn to write copy that sells. And that was really what the messaging was about. We didn't really talk about messaging back then. It was just copy that sells. Like, you're not selling, your words aren't doing their job. Let's change that. And it wasn't until I think it was like the second round of CopyBoss where I had my second round that I did it and I launched it, that I had a student, Catherine, join the program. And it became very clear very early on that it wasn't her copy that was stopping her from making sales. What we kind of realized was her biggest issue, which is kind of what I mentioned, that layering and that cake effect. It was underneath her copy, which was her message, right? As a woman who had been in business for a few years, she was disconnected from her message, from her mission, from her purpose. And that disconnection kind of bred this disbelief in herself and her ability to show up in her business and sell. So, and I see this happen to entrepreneurs so often, is that we've been in business for a few years. We're looking at strategies, we're looking at tools, we're looking at ways to formulas and blueprints to be better at what we do, and we disconnect ourselves from our message and our why, and that's the big thing, the reason why we're showing up in this business today, which is basically all the foundations needed to write copy that slays. So this kind of led me on a bit of a journey. While mid-launch or post-launch, it made me reassess my programs and how I kind of worked with people, and what was the most important factor wasn't necessarily just, the copy on the surface, but, I knew that my clients like Catherine just needed more than copywriting techniques, tips and tricks. Again, that like the icing, we needed more than just the icing, right? And so that's when, I took Catherine aside and we spent considerable time reconnecting her to her message. So that was her main goal of CopyBoss, right? It wasn't so much about writing that sales page. It was about reconnecting her with her message. And from this space, Catherine had the confidence to close $40,000 in sales the following month after us working on it. So this is a photo of me now, because I kind of really learned my lesson from that time. And now whenever I work with people, my clients always have a clear, compelling message that underpins their copy, okay? They easily show up on the page feeling confident in their message. They never get stuck staring at the blank page, right? It all starts with the message, okay? So it's time to make waves in your industry so you can get paid for the life-changing work that you do. And we're going to do that right now. So the first is we're going to cover the 3 mistakes that most entrepreneurs are making without realizing that they're making it. And so I want to nip them in the bud immediately. Okay, so mistake 1, pause for dramatic effect. Most people, what they do is they end up reciting their job description. So picture this, you're kind of like trying to write your website copy. You want to get people to understand what you do. You want to kind of build this connection, right? So you might say something like, if you're a graphic designer, you might say something like, hey, I'm a graphic designer. I love designing bold graphics. The problem with that is you might think it's your message, but what it is your job description. And honestly, you and every other graphic designer out there is saying the same thing. And so you should, right? Because that is literally your job description. And that job description isn't going to change unless you change careers, okay? So if I was a copywriter and I said, hey, I'm a copywriter and I like writing copy that sells, copy that connects, copy that converts, whatever it is, that's not a message, okay? That's a job description. And I think it's super great, to have that, to know, right? Especially when, I feel like there was a phase that the business world went through where everyone was scared of job descriptions. Everyone was like, I don't want to call myself a life coach. I'm a fairy life godmother making your life wishes come true. And, people are like, I'm not a business coach. I'm a change maker, right? There was just so many people were avoiding their job descriptions for fear of not standing out, right? Not standing out, not parting the sea of sameness. But what you ended up doing was confusing people. So anyone who kind of, if you're one of those people in the business world that went through that phase of like, I'm not going to call myself a copywriter, I'm going to call myself a word nerd, wordsmith, and blah, 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 like whatever, you know, like fairy word mother, here to like, give you your words, right? So I feel like that happened, you know, that kind of trend happened in the industry because people were trying to figure out what their message was, but were getting tripped up and trying to use their job description as their message. So I just want to tell you here that it's great to have your job description, but that's not your message. And you know what happens when you end up using your job description as your message is that you kind of end up drowning in the sea of sameness, because you and every other graphic designer wants to design bold or cool graphics for their clients. And so what happens is you might end up writing you might think it's a really great heartfelt blog post, but it's just being drowned out, okay? Because you're really focusing in on your job description. So what you need to do is know what your job description is and know that it's not your message, and have both in your business, okay? So that's the first mistake is reciting your job description as if it is your message when it is not. Okay, mistake number 2. So dramatic, I choked on my coffee. Producing how-to content. Guys, this might be a little controversial, but when you produce how-to content, generally what happens is you're not saying anything compelling, okay? So when you produce how-to content, your message isn't really involved in that, right? It's just a very step-by-step, very bland, boring, like you're just kind of reciting these kind of like facts, right? But what happens is when you kind of write a how-to piece of content, you're not really hooking people in, right? You're going to be ignored. What's going to happen is someone might stumble on a how-to guide because they might search how-to. So it might be SEO friendly for a moment, but no one's going to go back and like remember you. No one's going to like fall in love with you and your opinion. No one's going to go, oh my God, this content is fire. This message is fire. Okay. Like I see a lot of people from an SEO perspective, it's like, give this like how to, I kind of like to use the example of, okay, ever tried to make a chicken schnitzel? You'll know that they're getting the crumb to stick on a chicken schnitzel that you make at home is like damn near impossible, right? So I have Googled how to get your crumb to stick on your chicken schnitzel like more times than I can count. And I'll read I will go and read someone's how-to guide. But again, the key word here is someone's how-to guide. I'll go through a few articles that I find and read them and compare them and be like, okay, cool. Like this is the general consensus. Do I know that person who created the article? No. Do I know their name? No. Do I know their qualifications? No. Do I know that they're an expert? No. Do I know anything about them? No. Am I looking at their about page? No. I'm basically bouncing in, reading the how-to guide and getting out of there. I don't know who they are. I don't care who they are. I just want my answer, right? So this is what happens when you spend all your time writing how-to content, is that you're not giving people a hook enough to like hook into you and who you are as an expert. You're not really presenting yourself as an expert. You're kind of presenting yourself as a Wikipedia page where you can kind of like read up some information and get out of there, right? So I want you to start asking yourself, what's my opinion on this topic? No more how-to content, okay? Most of the time in your industry, if you're kind of like teaching people step-by-step things, it's been said before, it's nothing new, it's nothing innovative, it doesn't showcase you and your skills in any way. All it shows is that you're able to kind of regurgitate the general tips and tricks, and that's about it. And so when you infuse your message and your opinion into your content, that's what's going to hook people in. That's what's people going to go, oh my God, I need to know who wrote this. What's her name? What does she stand for? Who is she? Where's her website? I want to know more about her, right? That's how you become the go-to expert on a topic. And it starts with your message, and then you kind of start to build on it, right? So as you can kind of see, like figuring out your message is just the one step, the first step, but it's how you use it moving forward in your copy, right? That is super freaking important. Okay, so mistake number 3. Using self-expression as their messaging strategy. So I've seen entrepreneurs do this where, it's a matter of speaking your truth and expressing yourself. And that's what you call your message, and that's what you call your messaging strategy, right? And the pitfall that I see with this mistake is that your business doesn't operate in a vacuum, and your ideal clients must be taken into account. But when you follow this kind of like self-expression, like, I'm intuitive as fuck, I'm spiritual as fuck, let me just put that out there, okay? Like, I have nothing against spirituality. I don't talk about it all the time, but I'm spiritual, right? So I get this desire to tap in, right? And like speak your truth. But you're also running a business, so you must always take your ideal clients into account. It's not enough to speak your truth, express yourself, and call it a messaging strategy that is going to get you paid, right? Or get you seen as the expert in your industry. Okay, I like to, there is a way in which you can bring that self-expression into your message, and you absolutely should. But if that is your only thing guiding you to showing up and sharing online, now this is where we get those feelings of like overexposed, super vulnerability, right? Like, yes, sharing your message online can feel vulnerable, but if you feel like you're having a vulnerability hangover from the stuff that you share, I would take a stab at the fact that you kind of using self-expression as your messaging strategy without marrying it with your ideal clients and your business goals and objectives, and making sure that it's in alignment. So that alignment piece of like your message being aligned to your business and being aligned to your audience usually gets kind of left out. People forget about that. And usually, you kind of go down that rabbit hole of like, as I said, being in business for a while, you're following other entrepreneurs, you're looking for strategy, you're looking for a blueprint, you're looking to scale and grow. You want to know, like, how do I like take this like hack job business that I had at the start where I just kind of like showed up with my like enthusiasm, and how do I like take that and grow that into a serious business, and we kind of lose sight of ourselves in that process. So then there's like the complete swing back to the other side where you're like, well, fuck rule, fuck strategy, and fuck everything else, and all I want to do is just go back to who I was when I enjoyed my business, which is expressing myself, right? So like it's a continuum. There's self-expression on one side as a strategy, and then you've got like complete, business blueprints, formulas, 5K formulas, blah, 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 right? And what you need to do is kind of meet in the middle. Your message must always be aligned to your business and also to your ideal clients. And I see a lot of people who kind of forget that when they try to connect back in with their message. So those are kind of the 3 mistakes I see a lot of entrepreneurs making inadvertently when they're trying to write copy and content and like and build a message around their business. So guys, on to the good stuff. Are you ready to become the expert in your industry? Are you ready to start making waves with your message and get paid for every single email, blog post, or social post that you write? Are you ready to be seen, heard, and get paid for the life-changing work that you do? That was Kerry. And let me tell you that what I'm going to teach you now, I'm going to teach you the 3 steps to really kind of like drawing out your message right. But it's about drawing the message out of you and teaching you to find it within. And that's what we're going to do with this 3-step method that I'm going to give you right now. So introducing the 3 steps to turn your hot mess message into a crystal clear money maker. Here's my cute little diagram for you. Okay, guys. So the first step is we've got to unlock your message. Then we need to bring your message to life, and then we need to translate it. So as you can see, I feel like we get so caught up maybe in step 1 that we ignore step 2 and step 3, right? Because, step 1's the first step. Step 1, of course, we're going to really obsess about the first step, especially when we have a bit of a hot mess message and we are unable to see beyond that. It's like we kind of get stuck in like, I need to get clear on what's my message? What's my message? What's my message? So I need you to kind of like zoom out a little bit. Yes, you will figure out what your message is. You will. It's done. Just consider it done. But now it's like taking that message and how do we bring it into your business? That's the key, right? Because you can sit there and do like a messaging worksheet all you want. But if you end up with a message and you're like, I don't know what to do with it, like that's the real tragedy. So let's go through this now. So the first step is unlocking your message, obviously. So, I've hopped on this whole masterclass and workshop is about your message, and I've hopped on about it. But I just need you to really understand that what your message is it means you stand for something, okay? It takes your job description. So we're not throwing the job description out, but it takes your job description and adds meaning to it, right? So like, for example, if we take me, a copywriter, like, my job description, hey, I write copy that converts. I'm a copywriting agency. I write copy that disrupts and delivers and delights and blah, blah, all that job description, right? But if I look deeper into like, what's my message? I would say that one of my like messages is how powerful your words are, how much power there are in your words and how much people aren't tapping into that. And it really, this does extend beyond, with my speech pathology degree, it extends beyond just copywriting. What it does is it's like a way of life. If you can tap into the power of your words in your love life, with your relationships, in your jobs, like your life will change. Okay. So you can see that having a message goes well beyond your job description. And it's super, as we mentioned, it's super important because here's the thing, you're like in this business forever. Newsflash. If you're in my world, I don't see many people come to me who are, I don't know, developing little widgets that go into like a Kilkenny can of beer to keep it foamy when you crack it. Like you're not, and there's no passion in that, right? Like you've created your business to live a passion-fueled life and to get paid for the work that you love, right? So newsflash, your business is forever. Your business is forever. You want your business to be forever too. Yes, you can have iterations and you can pivot, and as you grow, your business will grow with you. But in order to have the longevity in your business, you need to be completely in love with your business. And the only way to like have that love, that drive, it's not about relying on motivation. It's about having a message you believe in, one that you are willing to share, one that you're willing to shout from the rooftops forever and ever and ever, right? And so like, if I come back to me and like what one of my messages is like how powerful your words are, I feel like I have another message inside of me, which is about like never letting another story go untold. This is something I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but yeah, you can have more than one message, right? And it's about weaving them and bringing them all together, which I'll talk about later in the messaging bootcamp that I'm going to talk to you about, and I'd love to have you come in, join me in. But basically, having a message that you believe in gives you that longevity in your business that you need to outlast everyone and stay in business forever, right? The other thing on the flip side is to build a tribe of adoring fans of people who absolutely love you. You need to have a message that you can get on board with, okay? People don't just jump up and down and go like, yes, copywriter. Yes, my words are powerful. I believe in that. Let me get on board with that. Yes, I don't want to have another story left untold in me, right? So if you want to build that tribe of adoring fans, if you want to have that list of like true people who are going to buy from you, it's not what you're selling that's important. It's the message underneath it, okay? So the first step is you're going to unlock your message. And let me tell you, this is what happened when Rochelle did it, okay? So Rochelle was told by a lot of marketing from marketers that she needed to niche down and change her entire messaging to match, like basically she runs, sorry, let me recap. Rochelle runs a VFit studio, which is an online fitness studio. Back when she started, she was told that only busy mums would be interested in an online virtual classes, online live Zoom fitness classes. And so she needed to change her entire messaging. She didn't want to fucking do that. So she came to me. And what we did was we doubled down on her true messaging. So we uncovered her true messaging, and we doubled down on that. And that brought her true audience to her. And basically, she makes a crap ton of money now running her membership alone. Okay? So, when you have something that you believe in and you have something that your people can rally behind, money. You make waves and you make money. Okay, so step number 2 is bring a message to life. So a lot of people kind of would stop at step 1, right? They'd be like, great, I found my message, no worries, woohoo. So off you go, and you might write one blog post about your message or one email about your message that you uncovered it. Here's what it is, here's what it means, here's what it stands for. Beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt stuff, right? But then you're like, right, I got to show up for the rest of my life in my business. What am I going to do? How do I do this? How does this message come into all areas of my communication? So the second step is taking your message statement and bringing it to life. And when I say bring it to life, we're putting it into a narrative here. Okay, we're taking your message and we're turning it. We're setting the scene of what this message looks like for your people. We're showing the transformation. We're delivering your message and the desire together. So what happens is we have binge-worthy content basically for people to hear your message. It's like the vehicle to deliver your message is the narrative arc that we develop around it, which it requires setting the scene, as I mentioned, showing the transformation and delivering the desire. It's all about putting your message into a sequence of events or narrative arc. It's just, fancy, I'm in my screenwriting brain, fancy terminology for a sequence of events to solve a problem and showcase success. So there is a little bit, that goes into bringing your message to life. So as I said, step 1, a lot of people are happy to be like, I know what my message is, and then, right, they've done it. And then they kind of right, I've got to show up and write content for a month. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? What am I going to talk about? And you kind of forget about your message, right? You're like, right, I'm going to talk about this service. I'm going to talk about this. And you kind of then, again, fall into, write this how-to content. You kind of fall back into your old ways. So the second step is really learning how to bring your message to life, okay? And so, when I worked with Jordan, she kind of struggled with her, voice and message for years. And it was when we started to bring that message to life in her own voice that she was able to make back her investment 10 times over, which is pretty freaking awesome. So again, these kind of examples of people that I've worked with really show that, there is that kind of struggle, right? I have my message, I know what I stand for, but how do I translate that into content, into how do I translate that into copy? How do I translate that in a way that sounds good and feels good for me, right? So bringing that message to life. And the third and final step, which I just started getting into here, was we need to translate it, okay? So here's the deal. Here's what we know. I'm going to give you some speech pathology here. Okay, there are 6 steps to basically communicating a message that's going to get you seen and heard and paid, right? The first 3 steps are basically all within you. It's about taking your message, sending it to your brain, translating it out onto the page. These final 3 steps have nothing to do with you, right? They're all about the audience, because before your audience can respond with a purchase from your, whatever it is, your sales promo, your promo email, your sales page, your, whatever it is that you've written and translated and sent out into the world, before your audience can respond with a purchase, they have to decode your message, right? Your audience has to interpret the message exactly the way you intended, understand the source of your message and where it came from, get on board with it, right? As we spoke about, they want to jump on that message train. They have to feel so connected to your message that they will buy. So again, a lot of people kind of, stop after that first step. I found my message, great. And they don't take into consideration that your message, not only do you need to bring it to life, but you need to translate it for your people. Your message does not operate in a vacuum. We need to translate it, and not even just translate it for your ideal clients, but translate it for your accountant, for example, right? The people who are doing your books, your parents at the dinner barbecue, all these people who are really interested in what you do, and you're like, oh my God, I can't, like, you just don't understand, right? How many times have you tried to explain what you do and people just don't get it? You know, as a copywriter, I know that a lot of people outside of the industry do not know what a copywriter is. So I don't say, hey, I'm a copywriter to like the bank guy, right? I say, hey, I'm in marketing. I write websites and promote and marketing materials for clients, right? Because when I say copywriter to people who aren't in the industry, they are like, oh, so you do copyright? You're like a lawyer. I've had that so many times. So it's learning how to translate your message for your specific people. Okay? So in order to translate your message, you need to put it through your target markets filter, but you also need to know who else are you talking to? Who else needs to get on board with your message? Who else needs to get on board with your business that you also need them to be able to understand and get on board and be your advocate, right? So that's what translating it's all about. And so Lauren, I've worked with Lauren before, and really, you know, for her, she was hiding behind that industry jargon, being academic, and not being helpful and real. So what we did was, when we discovered her message around branding and we made it kind of real and helpful, people then started commenting and engaging. And she was able to re-energize the way that she shows up because we reconnected her with her message. We got rid of the jargon and the academia, reconnected her with her message, and then she was able to kind of show up in that way that started getting that engagement and things like that. So you guys, do you want to shoot off an email that brings you 5 figures minimum? It's possible, but it just doesn't happen on its own. Okay, each of my clients that I've shared with you, they got more sales, signups, and success because we uncovered their message, brought it to life, and translated it for their people. And that's basically my Make Waves messaging method. But it's, as I said, it's not just a bunch of theory. This has all been tested and proven to work by myself and my students and my clients. Because as I said, you know, copy is that final icing on the cake, but your message is the cake itself, that everything, like the foundation must be right in order for you to deliver it. So if there's one thing that you can take away from today, I want you to know that you can become the go-to expert, make waves in your industry, and get paid well for the life-changing work that you do. And you can do it all without getting overwhelmed, cringing at the copy that you write, or spending the entire day rewriting an email because you hated it. And you can absolutely do it, because if I can, and if my students can, you can do it too. And basically I've developed, you know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share with you now my Make Waves, Make Money Messaging Bootcamp. And basically it's a powerful 5-step system that makes it easy for you to articulate your message in a way that gets you seen, heard, and paid. And I also added this on the end too, because I feel like it's super important, but we do it in a way that feels fucking bloody good to do it. Okay. So I've outlined my system with you today. So I guess the big question here is, you know, how can you apply this to your own business and tap into the power of having a crystal clear message that sells? Because if we cast our mind back to earlier, right, this is the power of tapping into your message, having a crystal clear message. It comes back to choice B, baby. It comes back to crystal clear message, Melissa. And never kind of having that struggle again for when you need to show up and sell. Because remember, hot tip, you're in this business forever, right? You got to show up forever. So let's get the foundations right, so when you do show up, you enjoy it. And if you got to read those testimonials to the fullest that I put up on the page, you know, highlighting my students' success stories, you'll see that like confidence and joy in writing again is such a huge, like everyone kind of mentions it, because that's what happens when you have a message. When you have a clear message, it makes showing up in your business crazy enjoyable. So you guys, I'm thrilled and honored to announce without any surprises that the doors are now open to the messaging, Make Waves, Make Money Messaging Bootcamp, which is teaching you all about how to part the sea of sameness, stand out in a crowded online space, carve out your lucrative corner of the industry, and make a shit ton of cash doing so. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the link right now so you guys can check it out. But obviously, I'm going to walk you through right now and give you the backstage pass so you can learn what we're going to do in each of them. Okay, so it's 5 weeks, 5 modules, each module delivered per week. So module 1 is all about, like, this is kind of what I mentioned earlier, right? It's about becoming it's about unlearning your industry jargon and junk words that are keeping you broke and reconnecting with what lights you up. I know so many of us have been in business for long enough that we are disconnected from our message. So module 1 is all about reminding you and reconnecting with your message. So ignoring everything else out there, reconnecting with you and becoming the messenger. Okay. And as Kerry said here, that getting really clear about your message transformed the way that she communicated with her community and increased her sales. So again, it's a flow-on effect. To work on your message is to work on your sales without being sleazy and salesy and gross, right? Your message sells for you. In module 2, what we're going to do here is we're going to develop your key messages and turn them into your power position that cuts through the noise and lands you front of mind with your ideal clients. So this is what, I mentioned earlier when I started sharing some of my messages, is that you will have a few messages, guys. You will have key messages, okay? So it's not necessarily just about having one message. We're going to develop your key messages. And this is going to be the building blocks for your power position where you can cut through the noise in the industry. And so, when I was working with Tracy, what we were able to do is get her messages out there and basically get her to, basically what we did was nail down her message, got her to show up with her new message, and she basically closed 10 new clients in the time that we worked together. So again, remember guys, when you work on your message, you connect, you're working on your sales inadvertently, which is super great. Like we want, everything we do in business must be connected to our business objectives, right? And one of your business objectives, obviously, is to make money. So just know that when you work on your message, like it works on not only whole entire marketing, right? Like gets all your marketing done, but it's a direct correlation to increasing sales when you work on your messaging. So now we've got our key messages. In module 3 is where you will discover your narrative arc, which is the thing that links all your key messages to turbocharge your sales in a way that features and benefits can't. So you hear a lot about features and benefits, right? But they cannot compete when you have your narrative arc. So this is about bringing that message to life. So what I'm going to do is teach you, the kind of like Hollywood tricks of the trade for you to bring your message to life so that people can get on board with it and rally behind it, okay? And so this is going to turbocharge your sales because, as I said, your feature and your benefits and your outcomes and all that kind of stuff that you kind of taught with your sales, they don't stand a chance when you have the right message, okay? So, one of my former clients, Ingrid, was able to generate so much more calls and inquiries just because we changed the way that she wrote her message. And that's what happens when you discover your narrative arc that your message goes into. Okay, so now we've got a narrative arc. Again, this is part of that, 3-step plan that I've laid out is we need to translate what you do for any audience anywhere. That includes the family barbecue where your aunt is left scratching her head. Basically, so anytime you talk to someone about what you do, they either will become a client or they will become champions of your work. Okay, that's what module 4 is about. Again, there's no point at having a message sitting in the dusty corners of a folder on your laptop and never using it in your marketing campaigns or communicating it with people, right? So that's what we're going to do in module 4. When I worked with Alyssa, what we're able to do is, what I'm able to do and what the process does is teach you how to be your genuine self and get that out, right? And that's part of that message, right? Being able to genuinely communicate your message and what you do to anyone in a way that excites. And as I said, either people will champion your work because they're not your ideal client, which is fine, but they know what you do and they can tell everyone about it, or they are your ideal clients and they become clients. And then finally, we wrap up with module 5, which is turning your message into cash and into your weekly newsletter, advertising, podcast, interview, pitches, and sales copy. So your message is the thing that is going to make you unique, right? It's going to make you the worthy choice. It's going to make you stand out. So when you have your message, you're able to then take that and use it in your podcast pitches, right? So if you want to get more exposure, more PR, all that kind of stuff, your message is the key to doing that. It's not about trying to, it's impossible to get become a guest interview on a podcast if all you're going to talk about is, hey, your job description. Hey, I'm a copywriter and I love to help people write copy that sells, right? That's not newsworthy. That's not noteworthy. That's not interview worthy, right? So what we're doing here is turning this message into bigger and better opportunities for you. Okay. And when I worked with Tara, we clarified her message and she basically found her people. Her emails get replies, her website sells, all because she clarified her message. So again, you guys, this messaging stuff is like the foundation of basically your entire sales strategy. So what you get 5 modules delivered weekly via a workbook. It's simple, fresh, and actionable with zero confusion. And your first workbook lands in your inbox on Monday, the 27th of June. So that's when we start. Every week, we're going to gather on a Zoom for Q&A sesh where I'll dish out some live teachings, messaging, copy and content wisdom, and answer all your head-scratching questions. So you get some group coaching as well on top of your 5 modules. There will be an official Facebook group, and you all get a personalized review of your message. So I'm not just going to leave you hanging. You're not just going to do the workbooks. You actually get me to review your messages, your narrative arc, everything that we put together in week 3. I'm going to review it and give you my tips and tricks and make sure that it feels good, it sounds good, and you know what to do with it. So you get that personal review from me. Plus, you guys, I have a few bonuses that I want to throw in for you. So bonus 1 is how to turn your messaging into compelling stories that sell. So this is a storytelling masterclass that will teach you how to, like I said, take that message that you have and turn them into stories so you always have ways to talk about your message and never dry up of content that you need to write again. There's also another masterclass, which is Introduction to Messaging Marketing, and how to be compelling over creative and campaign creation. So basically, I'm giving you, taking my mini MBA marketing degree and teaching you how to bring that to life in your business, how to create the right campaigns that attract the right people with your message. So basically, I've said it from the start, like unlocking your message is step 1, but it's everything else that is so damn important. It's about taking your message, bringing it to life, being able to translate it, putting it into your marketing campaigns. Those are the things that are super important, okay? And guys, I want to tell you right now, for the next 15 minutes only, I have a fast action bonus. This is for the hardcore action takers, the people who are like, yes, 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 Liz, I'm in. I will give you a sales page audit and review. So you will get specific and actionable feedback and recommendations on your sales page to make it convert like crazy. So again, this is another example of taking your message and translating it into one of your most important pieces of copy available, which is your sales page, which is the final frontier that people visit, and the decision to them, and the final frontier and the place that they make the final decision to pay you. And I will personally review this for you and give you all the feedback and recommendations you need to be able to make it convert like crazy. This is only available though for the next 15 minutes. So make sure, if you are hell yes, like sign up now so you can get this bonus. So you guys, all of this, you get lifetime access. I'm not taking this away from you. There's no like, oh, you only get like 6 months, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know businesses pivot, rebrand constantly, shift. I mean, that's the nature of the beast of being a business owner. So you get lifetime access for the entire messaging, MakeWaves messaging system, which is valued at $1,500. And you get it all today for $497. There is also a payment plan that you can choose as well. So it's your time. Are you finally ready to part the sea of sameness? Stand out of a crowded online space, carve out a lucrative corner of the industry, and make a shit ton of cash doing so. Then if you answer yes, here are your payment plan options. So we do have a split payment to make it easier on the cash flow. And we have a single payment option, which is the best value. So select your payment plan. And then your final step is to pay securely with your debit card or PayPal. And all you need to do is click this link, join the messaging bootcamp now. I will also share the free guide for you guys to get. So yeah, basically what I want you guys to do is ask me questions now. Well, obviously I want you to join now because I would love to help you unlock your message, translate it into the world, use it as the basis for all of your communications moving forward, and make a shit ton of money doing so. You know, Ashley made $25,000 in 7 weeks after we developed her message and crafted compelling copy. And Catherine made $40,000 a month after reconnecting with her message, as we spoke about earlier in the workshop. So guys, do never forget that, you know, whenever I create a course or whenever I kind of come up with something, it's always rooted in being aligned to what your business wants and what your business needs, right? Like it's never just like, let's write your message for the sake of it. Like it's so important. It's so connected, as I said, not only to your marketing, your campaign creation, but also your sales strategy, right? This is the missing piece. If you're not selling, if you're struggling to write sales copy, you know, if you're struggling to be heard, if you feel like you're kind of drowning in that sea of sameness, it's the message that's missing, okay? And that's fixable. You know, we can fix it in 5 weeks. All right. So guys, do you have any questions? I know they always say on the web, when you run a workshop or masterclass or webinar, to always have Q&As pre-prepared in case no one has questions. Well, guess what? I didn't do it. I didn't pre-prepare any questions that you guys could potentially ask. So like, we're going to sit here in silence if no one has questions. It's not true. We will wrap this up. But does anyone have any questions when it comes to their message, when it comes to the bootcamp? Let me see. Let me think. Let me like channel in who might have a message but doesn't want to share it. And then I could like, you know, get into their heads. I feel like a lot of us are multi-passionate, right? And so you're kind of like, well, how does that work? Like, I'm spiritual, but I'm also selling like executive coaching, right? So how do I blend? Like, how do I make sure I don't alienate my clients and my database by bringing like my true message into it? And I get it, right? Like, I get it. So what I want you guys to do is know that, you know, through the process of discovering your message, you know, is the translating it, right? Being able to translate it and consider your ideal clients and to bring it to life. So if you're like, hey, I'm really spiritual, I really want to bring the spirituality into it, but I know that my clients are very like corporate executives, then the process in messaging, in Make Waves Messaging Bootcamp, will help you know the sweet spot. We call it the sweet spot, right? The sweet spot is sounding like you, all the things that you love, right? And then it's your audience. And so see that little gap in the middle? That's the sweet spot where your message needs to hit. So know that the process will help you be able to bring your message to life without alienating your ideal clients, but actually attract your. I get clear on my message. It's basically, who gives a fuck what anyone else thinks, wear what you want, but how does that relate to my jewelry? Well, yeah, that's where we come up with the sweet spot. That's where the messaging bootcamp would be perfect for you. So you have a bit of an idea, you know, and this is what I mean. People have like that idea of their message, right? Like step one, it's not too hard too hard to figure out step one, but it's what you do with it. How do you connect it to your jewelry? That's what the messaging bootcamp will help you do. That's why there's 5 modules. That's why I don't just stop after one, after unlocking your message and becoming the messenger. Okay, that's step one. But it's everything else. It's how you build a narrative arc around it, Tracy. So what would be really great for you would be like week 3, where we build your narrative arc around what does that look like for your audience and for jewelry. And that's what we would do in week 3. And that's where you would really finally be able to see, oh my God, the connection between my message and the jewelry that I have. So that's, when I spoke about, module 3, it's about taking your message and plugging it into a narrative arc and bringing it to life. That's the missing step that you have there, Tracy. Tracy, so I'm thinking about joining Copyboss down the line. Do we do messaging work in there too? I'm trying to figure out where I need the most support. Okay, so Chelsea, there's one lesson on messaging in Copyboss. So this is like a deep dive. So Copyboss has one lesson about messaging. This is like going deep. This is 5 weeks of going really deep into your message and learning how to craft the stories and the narrative arc and how we can show up with it. So I would say that this is like the foundation work. I would say that you need to join this first and then know that to get your cake really solid, get your communication cake really solid, get that message really solid. And then when you join Copyboss, all those tips, techniques, and tricks of making everything polished and shine, that's where Copyboss will fit into it. But right now, without that, as I mentioned earlier, when Catherine did join Copyboss, we had to spend considerable time getting really clear in her message because that was the thing that was letting her down. So if you're like, hey, my message is just a little shaky, I'm not really clear on it, I don't know how this kind of works, I would recommend joining now so we can get a really solid message for you and you can start kind of using that. And then the copy comes in later, right? The icing on the cake. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Amazing. Any other questions? I'm going to just share this final link for anyone who wants to join. Now, because it's the 16th of June, you guys are going to see emails from me, all right, over the next week. Just know that if you want to get the sales page audit from me, that clock is ticking down. It's been 10 minutes. So by the time we wrap up this, it's safe to say that that bonus is gone skis. So if you want to nab my eyeballs all over your sales page, then joining now is what you need to do. Oh shit, what else was I going to say? What else was I going to say? Oh my God, my mind went blank. Oh, yes, start dates. Okay, so we're starting on Monday, the 27th of June. So you do, if you need a little bit more time to think about it, you're going to be getting emails from me over the next week. Because you're part of my community, reminding you. So yeah, if you didn't hear this message in this workshop, I'm still going to be talking about it for the next week in your inbox. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. So time zones. Okay, so the live Zooms will be on, I have it written down because I did do that. Let me check. Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So where are you, Mel? Oh my God, I forgot. Are you in Mel? Wait, did you tell me where you were at? No, where are you in the world? I'll do a conversion for you. Mountain time. Okay. Time zone converter. I think it's kind of early evening for you. Mountain time. Okay. So if we do, also all of the Zooms are recorded and will be available for you immediately after we do them. So if you miss them, you can also submit all your questions prior to the Zoom if you can't make it. Let me do the time zone conversion for you right now. Cool. Okay. So 12 noon in Melbourne is 8 p.m. Mountain time on the Tuesdays at 8 p.m. It would be Mountain time for our Q&As. So it would kind of be perfect for wine o'clock and Zoom parties. So yeah, amazing. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on this messaging workshop. I really hope it's opened your mind to really see that, you know, the process and the method involved into building out your message. You know, I feel like a lot of people talk about, you know, we're tapping into your message, we're figuring out what your message is and what you stand for. But then everything kind of falls into a heap and it's like, how do I translate it, guys? How do I translate it and put it out into the world and use it in my marketing? And that's exactly what this Make Waves, Make Money Messaging Bootcamp will do for you. So thank you so much for jumping on. You guys rock. I will see you in the inbox. Obviously, that's where we hang out. And yeah, any questions, feel free to hit me up as well afterwards. I had the best time. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Yes, end. See you guys.